Welcome to the Office of Global Education's Student Health and Safety Orientation. Your health, safety, and general well-being while abroad is Georgetown University's top priority. This orientation is mandatory for all Georgetown students studying abroad and has been designed to equip you with essential information, resources, and strategies to maintain your overall well-being during your time away from the hilltop. We will discuss topics of physical health, like how to avoid common travel illnesses and seek medical care in a foreign country, personal safety and security, including ways to reduce risk of theft and other petty crime, managing emergency situations, including critical resources and support, and how to navigate risk in a new and unfamiliar social setting. One of the most exciting and important aspects of studying abroad is exposure to new ideas, practices, and beliefs that are different from one's own. You will be living in a new environment where many aspects of daily life will probably be different than what you are accustomed to. Naturally, the environment of risk in that location may also differ from what you know or expect here in the U.S., so it is important that you be prepared to recognize such risks and respond accordingly. For example, would you know what to do if you came down with serious food poisoning and had been vomiting for the past 24 hours? If your backpack has been stolen, along with your passport and wallet? If you have acute appendicitis and require surgery? If a protest happening in the city center becomes violent and major roads to campus are blocked? These are not just hypothetical questions. Georgetown students have faced all of these situations in the past. It is therefore critical that you know what to do in situations like these. The good news is that many of the common threats to your health and safety abroad are within your power to limit or control through deliberate actions and strategies. It's important to note that the risks are not necessarily greater abroad. What many study abroad advisors have noted is that students are generally less familiar with their surroundings when they go abroad, and therefore less adept at reading cultural cues and may engage in activities that place them at higher risk for something to not go as planned. The information in these videos is not intended to scare you, but to equip you with the tools necessary to assess and reduce risks and to confidently manage any situations you may encounter. With active planning, situational awareness, and informed decision-making, you can greatly reduce risks and help ensure that your study abroad experience is positive and successful. While larger-scale emergencies or threats are relatively uncommon, it is still important that you remain informed of risks in your area and stay updated about any potential security threats in your location. OGE's website is a very helpful resource and should be your first stop for basic information concerning health and safety. Here you can find safety updates and alerts, emergency contact numbers, recommendations for preparing to go abroad, as well as information about your international health insurance plan. Another helpful resource for Georgetown students abroad is International SOS. ISOS is a private company partnered with Georgetown University to provide security services such as real-time updates and alerts to all university travelers. It is strongly recommended to download the ISOS app before traveling abroad to have access to these alerts. You will learn more about these services and create an account for registering your travel later in this orientation. If you're a U.S. citizen or national, the State Department's Smart Traveler Enrollment Program, or STEP, may also be a useful resource. This service helps provide information and updates about your location. It also facilitates communication in the case of an emergency. Logging your travel helps the State Department help you if anything were to happen while you were abroad, and is highly recommended. The State Department also has a similar program for non-U.S. citizens. The State Department also provides country guides that have detailed and specific information about your location, including risks to travelers in the area. There are travel advisories available on every country that provide important insight on the prominent health and safety concerns, as well as recommendations for mitigating them. we strongly advise all students to consult the State Department's country guides to better understand specific threats and risks that they may be exposed to by traveling in that country. While the vast majority of issues that affect students abroad are relatively minor, it is important to be prepared for the event of a more serious emergency while abroad. For the purposes of this orientation, the term emergency refers to a situation that poses a real or immediate threat or danger to the health, safety, or well-being of one or more Georgetown program participants. This could include many different kinds of scenarios: an acute anxiety attack, an extreme weather event, violent protests that close major streets in your host country, just to name a few. If an emergency does arise in your location, you should first call your local program emergency contact. This could be your program's on-site coordinator, a Georgetown summer faculty director, or a staff member from your host university's International Exchange Office. They will know how best to assist you. Be sure to save your local emergency contact phone number in your phone, carry it in your wallet, or if possible, commit it to memory. Always follow guidance from local authorities, like sheltering in place if needed. If the threat involves a large-scale event, such as a natural disaster or violent protests, check the ISOS app for updates as the situation progresses. It is strongly recommended that you have an active and working local cell phone number, whether purchasing a new inexpensive phone abroad or a local SIM card. Your program may also require that you have an active local number. Local phone networks may be all you have in a major emergency. Make every effort to keep your phone charged, as you will likely be using it often. It may also be advisable to carry a small portable charger with you. Once you are in a secure location, you should notify your on-site local contact, OGE, and anyone at home, such as friends or family, who may be concerned about your well-being. Public protests and demonstrations can pose a serious risk to foreigners. Depending on where you are in the world, even peaceful demonstrations can turn violent very quickly. If you are unfamiliar with the causes for the protests or the culture surrounding political activism in your host country, you may not recognize the warning signs of impending violence. The best way to limit this risk is to avoid protests and demonstrations entirely. This is why it is included as one of OGE's conditions of participation that all students must agree to sign before going abroad. Please know that this is not meant to limit you or your voice, but to help us ensure your security in the event of any political or social unrest.